Greetings ladies and gents, and welcome to today's Reddit Quickie video, taken from the HFY subreddit called Do You Remember? Written by Lostfall. The link to the original will be down below, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. As Joaek pulled the trigger, he couldn't help but feel the thrill as he watched the smouldering bodies drop. Many of his species were pirates, something they credited to their predatory nature. Something was off. They had been off since they docked. The station's normal Rusho sapiens running around acted terrified. Yet barely his armed marauders gave it a second glance. They had yet to even see a guard, which was odd despite a normally scarce number present in the corrupt station. He had attributed to a sizable pirate fleet that he had landed. His crew of 132 bastards were all veterans of various campaigns, and some were the deadliest in the galaxy. Something is wrong. We have yet to find a slaver, yet we find most of the slave cages full, he pondered. Devil, where are the Grag hiding? The cowardly ass is losing a lot of merchandise here and there, and we're going to find you. He shouted into the station's system-wide broadcast. Let everyone around see this. Let them know that Joaek Krotik are something to be feared. He generally loved the fear of others in those of his profession, but the fact that Jorgo Slug, who ran the slaving operation, was nowhere to be found. Here I am putting on the farce of a show. The only thing that the Jorgo value more than his own life is his wealth. At least, that is what my experience with those slimy slugs have always been. Devil, you're running out of merchandise here. For such a notorious figure, you're such a coward. He didn't even have the spine to put up a fight. He yelled. Behind him he could hear the Krotik chuckling behind him as he joked. Everyone knew the Jorgo actually had no bones, just thick skin and constantly rippling with a disturbing manner. Cass, bring me more of the vermin out. If we can't collect on his ass, we will bankrupt him. Joaek yelled as he walked towards the bottle of one of his species' favorite intoxicants. The sugar levels in it were almost lethal to most creatures. I can't believe we haven't found one of his guards yet, let alone that slug. That bastard devil probably thinks that he is setting a trap for us. Either that, or he is trying to get off the station. But we would notice something as large as a slaving operation trying to flee. Why am I so uncomfortable? Something about the station is wrong. Another lion was brought out of his crew, and I hardly noticed the sound of their feet scraping on the metal floor or the clink of their chains. He was too focused on the strange sensation. Something's not right. Since leaving his birth planet of Carsol, he was the first time he'd felt it. That unseen and unknown imminent threat. Carsol was a cruel world where they had constantly to watch for the Harken. While right now, the monstrous creatures came out at night looking to prey upon his species. He was one of only 2 known species to have made it into space without being an apex predator of their planet. The other was the Korlik, an easily frightened race that he thought looked exceptionally tasty. As he turned, surveying his surroundings again, he was shocked at the slave in front of him, a mentok without a psychic collar. You are no slave, he sneered. What is your name? He expected and was prepared for a psychic attack that he was sure was coming. His nullifier already activated. Even with the nullifier, he knew that there were formidable creatures. More than once that he had almost been killed by one, a predator that crafted illusions in the mind of its prey and filled both emotions and being. This one, he looked ragged. I'm called Osbar, but that does not matter. You are about to release me from this nightmare. I don't want to see or feel any more. Please, proceed. Joaek heard with both of his ears in his mind. In his mind, he could feel the mentok's sense of exhaustion and even a touch of its fear. The fear was not of dying, but of living on. Osbar hadn't shown him what, but it was still there. You are the first who seems to have any idea of what I can find the fat slug and his friends. Osbar, perhaps you can shed some light on where I can find these cowards. I would really like to get my hands on Duval, he said, approaching the shackled slave while doing his best to sound both civil and menacing. I can't imagine you have any lost love for them. Love? No, I have no love for them. You can find them in Hangar 9. Osbar replied as his sightless gaze seemed to linger on Joic. You already know something's wrong. You sense it. Yet you stay. At this, Joic could feel his very visual perceptors in the room turning to him. Not all the creatures had eyes, though most did. Most regard the Curson, like himself, to be the most dangerous species in space. Scholars argued that this was a large part because of the senses honed onto a deadly world where they were not the apex predator. Yeah, something's wrong here. That is clear to all of us. But these beings around me are the most dangerous creatures in the sector. Joic replied, knowing that his words would embolden his men despite how hollow they felt. The feeling was becoming almost overbearing. That sense of being stalked. Those slavers before you thought the same. When I first sensed it, I thought to have warned them. But I was curious. Until now, I have always regarded my sight as a gift. Now, it is my curse. Osbar replied, before suddenly grabbing the sides of his head and crumbling to his knees. It's too late for you to leave now. I'm truly sorry. Please finish. I wish to see no more. Joic found himself dumbstruck. The pain projected had washed away the great wave of Osbar had spoken the last part. The Mentok fed off fear and pain in addition to the protein of the victims. They were infamous for torturing their food for hours. Joic found his nullifier buzzing as the Mentok willed him to kill it. Something he quickly squashed. He looked down at the broken creature as that sensation of dread came back stronger. What does he mean that they're all in Hangar 9? Is he lying to me? I need more information. After a moment of reflection, he decided to trust his instincts. Put the rest of the slaves back. Keep them in here. I want to know what happened here. I want a squad to go and check Hangar 9. Bring me any slaves you find there. Be prepared for a trap. Also, get a squad to check our ships. If we have to leave, I want them ready. Also, have everyone report in. If our friend here is correct, something else is going on. As his men left, leaving Joic with Osbar, he turned his attention back to the broken slave. He knows what is happening. Why can't he just tell me, he pondered. He almost jumped at the reply. I don't truly know, only what it chooses to share. Its mind is, chaotic, broken, divided. Dalvin hurt it in a way that doesn't heal. His slavers brought in a young specimen from a species that was unknown. I would have been interested in tasting its emotions, but they killed it after it murdered a guard. He wanted to make an example. This creature found its young in the protein vat being processed. After a moment, Osbar continued. Normally we feed on fear and pain, but its fear and pain are toxic. It is laced with other stronger emotions that terrify me. Its mind is full of poison. Osbar started. He continued to sit on his knees as he crumpled away. It has been watching and studying you. I would say you should not have broadcast this. Osbar waved towards a pile of dead slaves, but it wouldn't have mattered. Joic felt his communicator buzz, not taking his eyes off the Mentok. The signal was coming from the young Truffo named Riot, almost a rock-like race, who led the team to the ships. But he didn't hear a variety of resonating chimes that he normally did before the translator kicked in. Instead, he heard a singular sound, one he remembered from his childhood on Castle, when a friend had been caught near his burrow. The sound of ripping flesh and soft rhythmic padding of dripping of blood. Riot, report in, he asked, and the only response was a signal cut. This was just as the door opened with a creak that spoke with the maintenance of the slave quarter. Boss, we're missing almost 20. Admit took out his squad to check Hangar 9. Ausht went to go check the ship. Riot is putting outside patrols while Kurse and Risset are putting security through the slave complex. Their squads are missing the most. Cass reported, obviously disturbed by the vast number of missing. I suspect the number has gone up. See if you can get a hold of anyone from Riot's squad. Get them back here now. Also, put out the word, no one travels alone. Joek had a single thought. Not that traveling in a group had seemed to help whoever was on the other end of that radio. Osbar, please tell me Devlin wasn't stupid enough to try and bring the Harked here. He started even if he felt the hair on his spine rise. Even the thought of one of those monsters stalking the dark cycles of the station sent a shiver down his spine. I wish that were the case. Delvin's men did raid in its colony and killed its mate and took the young. It has shown me in its dreams. When it rests, it broadcasts its dreams with no regards. I cannot block it or escape it. This curse forces me to what it would call hell. Its colony was fleeing its own kind. Osbar started brokenly, but was becoming steadier as he spoke, as though talking was relieving him from a great burden. They were at war, but not as we know it. I cannot do justice to the visions that it has forced upon me. They killed entire worlds of their own. Such is war, Joek stated, but Osbar hiss cut him short. Not like this. Nothing like this. We kill, true, but not like this. My kind is known for unkind ways, but nothing like this. When it found its dead offspring, the pain was drowned out by another radiated emotion, so far beyond anger that I cannot describe it. Osbar fell quiet again. He slowly began to shake his head. The communicator came back to life. It was the shell, a fast-rising Curson, that he thought was the greatest long-term threat. Joek felt a chill even as the shell announced, Sir, Deadment is down. We've found the slavers, well, most of them. Something tore them apart. No, took them apart. They are laid out like they were studying them. It's attacking us. We're falling back. We are now down to 8. In the background, he could make out the sound of an arc rifle shots of something suddenly screaming in pain. The shell was shouting to the remaining squad, Form up on me, we need to get out of here, back to the slaver quarter. No, get to the ships, Joek shouted as he turned towards Cass. Get our squads moving, we need to leave now. At seeing Cass's obvious confusion, Joek shouted, Leave the damn slave, just bring this one. He clarified, pointing at Osbar. It's too late. Osbar kept mumbling as Joek's guards hoisted him up. As they began to leave, the lights in the station flickered. Power failure on a station this size is impossible. Immediately crossed Joek's mind. They are built around multiple fusion generators. It took out the power a few times when it was trying to destroy the station, but redundant systems stopped it. It wants to die, so long as everything here dies with it. Only a month ago did it stop trying to destroy the station. That's when the frequency bursts started, and all other communications off the station ended. Osborne moaned, holding his head. He felt his communicator buzz again. Looking down, it was Traflo's. Even as he turned it on, he felt dread as the screen showed a small group of 5 in a circle moving down a hallway. They were in a defensive perimeter, prepared for an attack. He didn't see Trafal amongst them. Wait, how is the camera following them from above? He briefly wondered before more unsettling realization set in. Why do they have the lights on? Oh crap, the lights are off. It's projecting this in the dark. Joek realized that just in time to see the something shoot down, impaling the large soldier that he didn't recognize, pulling it towards the camera. By Varison, it's hunting us! As he turned off the communicator, his last sight was of the lifeless body swinging from the rafters at eye level. He finally recognized him, and found he preferred not to have. Boss, I don't think any of Deadmet's squad is going to make it. What's the status of the rest? Joek asked as he checked his weapons. No point dying due to a dead charged. So Oust just called. Our birds are dead. Cass was then already shifting to a paler blue. The corps are missing. Something took them. They can't even find the hangar crew. Tell them to get back here. We need to figure out what's going on. Joek snarled. He looked back towards Osbar. Can you sense it now? A harsh rasp as a response. Like a supernova, it's everywhere, pulsating in pain and rage through the entire station. But it is steady and cold now, not the fire that it originally was. Osbar looked almost dazed. Joek briefly wondered if this creature was in Osbar's mind. Joek hardly felt reassured. Let's go now, Joek said, as he headed towards the door when a sudden flash caught his attention. Ancients, who the hell just discharged a weapon? Passed briefly through his mind as he turned to see Osbar had snagged the guard's pistol and taken his own life. Cass, get everyone in a defensive position. I want every sensor we have on, Joek said as he found himself unable to look away from the crumbling form of the Mentok. The sensors were on the ship, and I can't get a hold of our squad. One of the guards thought he saw a light, but said it was only there briefly before it disappeared. Cass continued, leaving the suspected loss unvoiced. Get everyone to set up a defensive perimeter. Shoot anything that moves. Looking back at the dead Mentok, he felt a chill. How many are left? Cass looked uncomfortable. We have been able to contact about 46. I'll get them stationed. What is it? I don't know. While we wait for it, Joek responded. Over the next few hours, the silence was almost overwhelming. Each passing hour seemed longer as few more reports trickled in from missing squads. I can't get that image out of the rafters of my head. No one has even made a visual, and over half my force is gone, Joek lamented. Sir, we only have 15 left that are reporting in, and I am not even sure that many are still here. Each report we lose more. We have to do something, Cass said. Joek sat in shock. I've only got 15 of them left. No one has seen it. What is this thing? Get everyone together. We need to head out and see if we can find a way out of here. We are going to the guard post to get gear and set the station monitors. Joek replied softly. I wonder how many will make it there. Even as they left, the lights of the hallway flickered and went out. Every sense in his body told him that he was being watched. The clear view of the lost squad from Hangar 9 kept coming into his mind like a bad memory. As they moved down the corridor, he felt something warm and wet hit his back. He swung around, instinctively dropping to a crouch in time to see Cass look right at him, momentarily surprised on his face as the object protruding from his chest before he suddenly vanished into the dark. At that moment, his remaining crew broke and ran. Where the hell are they going? They are fleeing right into the beast, he grimly thought. He started running towards the guard shack. Ancients have mercy, he thought as he turned to bend towards the guard post. The remains of several of his team were scattered about with parts of the guards. Everything else on the station was quiet, his footfalls echoing as he moved towards the post. The closer he got, the more ominous the feeling. I don't know if this was a good idea. This almost looks like a lair, he thought as he approached. Still, I need to get that security suite if I'm going to get out of here. He was shaking as he reached the panel to open the door. Inside, he found the rest of the guards. This was not the precise work of what hunts us. This looks as though the monster ripped through here. Then Joek heard a deep, disembodied voice from behind him. Do you remember when you became a monster? I saw what you did to those slaves. You have no right to call me a monster. Look around us, he yelled into the emptiness before him. Within arm's reach, the air seemed to shimmer, and suddenly he found himself looking straight at the helmet of a large bipedal creature. It reached up and took off its helmet to reveal two intense eyes in the face of what looked like a leather and mat of hair on top. The eyes were those of a hunter. He struggled to catch his breath and pointed towards the display and said, "Oh, I can recognize a monster, even if it's me. After the images I broadcasted of your protein tanks and slaves, I couldn't believe my luck as you reinforced it all with your little death squad. You have finally managed something that we have never done. You've unified my race by showing them the monsters you are. They have launched a humanitarian crusade, all to save those weaker from the likes of you. His lips pulled back, revealing teeth in look more malice than aggression. Joek looked back at the screen to watch in horror as multiple, large, strangely angled ships seemed to shimmer into existence, dropping light-bending cloaks as they stalked the station. He felt pressure and looked down to see the blade protruding from his chest. He had always thought the death would hurt more, he thought, as everything around him turned dim. And that, my friends, is the end of this Reddit Quickie. I hope that you enjoyed. If you'd like to support this channel, there are numerous ways to do so, listed in the description down below. The easiest and best way would be to share this video and my channel as much as possible. I'll see you all in the next video, and I hope that you have a good one until then. Cheers.